if you're a TikTok creator, like I'm flagging this, listen right now, like because this is solid gold. TikToks that go viral, right?
So welcome back. Joining me today, we've got Josh Cappello from Cappello Media and Sydney Creatives, and we're going to be talking about what is the trajectory of the creator economy, what potential does it have, and what does it mean for people coming into the media industry today.
Perfect.
So
Thanks for having Parker. So Parker and I will give a quick little backstory. We met off TikTok,
which is an interesting thing to say.
It's
If you told a boomer that, they're like, "What? You did what?"
and Parker lives maybe 3 or 4 suburbs away from me.
Yeah, pretty close.
We're like perfectly similar interests, like basically similar ways of life, in that we both want to be a full-time creator eventually is a goal, right?
Yeah.
And both doing like a really similar degree at 2 different universities. Like both had mutual friends.
Which is kind of mental to think about.
Like,
and that people that I'd been following on TikTok who just happened to appear on my feed like way last year, his company edits for.
yeah,
like the whole world is opening up.
For Byron, like for example, Byron Dempsey, one of my really close friends. So he's like massive on TikTok. He has like thousands and thousands and millions of views. And I edit for him. He told me how to edit for TikTok. And then it's funny because I was behind the scenes doing this content. So Parker was watching like my client work for like fucking years.
Which we had no idea. And we had a mutual person in common from UNSW who happens to be your friend anyway.
Exactly. Like my best friend was like Parker's like friend from USW, which is just like all these dots aligned, and eventually we're just like, let's just see what happens. And now we're here.
Yep. It's good to finally have someone in the same space doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, we're very similar also in the way of like motivation and mindset. Like we're both like, sure, university is a cool thing. It's a cool network, and you may learn a thing here and there. But like doing it yourself, like finding people you network with and just creating shit is a way to go.
It's not the be all end all. University can provide you the skills which can help you afterwards. But it's really about what network can you build, opportunities can you open for yourself.
It's like Matty Apoya's like learn, make, repeat. Like university only gives you the loan. You barely make stuff and you never repeat it.
But at least the good change with UNSW is it gives you the time to be able to make and repeat versus high school where it's only learned for an arbitrary mark and that's it. And maybe 5% of it is actually useful and helpful, but then the rest is just wasted time.
Yeah, like uni, like you basically do one subject and move on to the next thing. You don't really have time to actually like master a skill because they always just they try to jam pack much as they can in the course.
When do we reckon creator economy started? It was sort of a thing way back in the 2010s with the Ryan Higa, Matt Santoro, where it wasn't quite a business yet.
As well, like the Vine era.
That's true, the Vine days. I never was on the Vine days. I just kind of dabbled in YouTube, then went away for a bit.
Yeah, I was too young.
Gen Z for you, not the millennials.
I was just watching Minecraft videos on YouTube, man. So
Mumbo Jumbo. Oh my god, the days.
That was anyway.
And really, the only way that you would make a business out of it is maybe through a bit of AdSense, the odd brand deal if you were lucky, you could fund yourself. But it wasn't something you would go into intentionally. There wasn't like a business.
Like every creator now is a business. Like if you have 10 followers, you can make a business.
Pretty much about the 1,000 true fans. In that it is a principle where you don't need millions and millions of followers like you once did. Yeah. All you need is a couple of people who are willing to invest. Yeah. Exactly, create a community like Yes Theory, like MrBeast, whatever that is. Where you only need 1,000 people to give you $1,000, and that's $100,000 just in revenue right there.
Yeah, and you can like, there's creators like Airac. I don't know if you know who Airac is.
Yeah, of course.
They have like a YouTube Academy now.
Yep.
Where they monetize through like basically giving people the formula to grow on YouTube.
Graham Stephan, like, Abi Abdul.
Yeah, it's insane to see like people just like monetizing their like way to grow, which is insane because the lifetime value of that could be literally infinite.
Oh yeah.
Because if you take Airac's formula, do it your own, put your own spin on it, have a like get like 100,000 followers, sell like a product $100 each, and 10,000 purchase that, that's like $1 million.
Yeah, because even Colin and Samir were saying in one of their episodes, they had, I think, $100 course, 700 people bought it, and that's $70,000. And 700 people to buy a $100 course isn't that big if you've got hundreds of thousands of people watching who are dedicated.
Especially if you do the Gary V. This is like a Gary V thing, not me. I'm not going to say it's mine. This is not me. I preface this is not me. But Gary V's thing of jab, jab, right hook, where you give value, you give entertainment, education, whatever it is, then the right hook is like basically people just feel obliged to support you in any way. Could be a Patreon, could be a course, could be a Lightroom preset, whatever it is, they'll support you.
Because I have a number of friends who do Patreons, whether it be for as in they fund they fund Patreons like Kurzgesagt and things like that, where they may not get something fully in return, but they feel like they should support something that's put so much effort in it and brings so much value back to the user.
And like, you gotta think about it, YouTube's free. Like, Netflix is paid, Foxtel's paid. Like, most online subscriptions, like, that's paid, right? There's not a real place you can go online for free and like have a massive database full of all the different niches, communities. It's like it's basically like a Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Video every day, and it's free. And sure, you watch 2 ads, but who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I got YouTube Premium because
exactly.
Like it's $5. Yeah, especially for students, and you get it for lifetime. You're in uni or high school.
It's insane.
Fantastic.
It's insane. You've got no ads, and the creators,
YouTube Music. That's actually pretty good already.
And the creators actually earn more on average from YouTube Premium memberships rather than AdSense. So by actually doing premium, you're actually supporting the creators even more. So anyway, YouTube is a massive database and it's free, which means that anyone like around the world has access to really high quality content, which has never been seen before.
Oh yeah, and you don't need to be in a place where there is good universities. You can be in the middle of Africa or South America or Asia, anywhere in the world, and have access to that same content. You don't need to be in Harvard or Cambridge.
Yeah,
everyone's on a level playing field now.
And like you can basically learn whatever you want to online. Like, as cliche as it is, like, there's free coding on YouTube. There's Khan Academy.
That's how I learned photography and videography. I never had anyone taught me. Yes, I did a photography and digital media at school, but I think they taught 5 things the whole year. So really, there was nothing there. It was all, you know, the Peter McKinnons, Matty Kapoyas, Chris Howes, Lizzie Pierce, that I learnt all of my stuff off. Essentially self-taught in that regard,
it's like,
you can have that.
I literally tell people, like clients and stuff, and like friends, like I have a degree from university from YouTube. Like I have a YouTube degree. Like, you can go back and watch my videos. Like, I've watched probably every single 2-minute hack of Peter McKinnon. Like, every single like video Matty Kapoya on how like composition and color grading from Baking Chris, and like editing from Editor Matt, and like Peter Hillier. Is it Peter Hillier?
Hillier Smith?
Hillier Smith, yeah.
Hayden Hillier Smith.
Yeah, like Logan Paul's editor. Logan Paul's editor is giving out how to edit Logan Paul's viral vlogs for free on YouTube.
Which is mental to think about. And he won Editor of the Year last year as well.
For free, right? He's literally telling you how to go viral on YouTube. And you can directly transfer that to TikTok, to Instagram, to whatever. Like Daniel Sheffer, like, and Austin Paul taught me how to shoot product stuff at home. Like, you have, like, people on, like, red cameras, like Mark Bone and, like, Danny Gavert shooting on, like, C200s, who telling you the story. You got, like, Wandering DP, like, cinematography. Like, you can literally do a deep dive into all these different facets and, like, literally make your own university course.
So it'd be interesting if one day YouTube didn't indeed have some certification, because I think Facebook and Google they have their own.
I do think they will.
Because that just makes sense. The amount that you can learn off those platforms from these incredible people that said is free, sitting right there whenever you want it.
It's kind of like what Skillshare is doing as well on LinkedIn Learning, where like, and they kind of have more like, oh, if you complete this course, you get a little badge, right? So, and like I learned like cinematography off there, like lighting, like editing, like all these skills off Skillshare. It's like $15 a month. And so you have access to all these courses: marketing, business, like entrepreneurship. Like, if you want to do anything in the creator world or creative or business, there is literally no excuse.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows that there's a changing shift in not just where you get your information, but what sort of media you have to learn. So back in the day, you go to a film school because you're filming features. That's all you need to be filming. Where nowadays, it's a lot more short-form content creation, whether you work for brands, whether you work for yourself as your own content creator. Yeah. Yes, there are still features with Marvel Studios, you know, setting up with Disney here. So I have plenty of friends who work with that. Like, they were all working on Shang-Chi, so we're seeing it all together, which will be interesting. But it's shifting where it's a whole different environment. You can't have the long intros where you set up the scene. It has to get straight to the point. If you watch any MrBeast video, within 2.5 seconds, he already gives the whole plot point and why you should stay and watch. There is no, like, good morning today, unless you're the Emma Chamberlain, where there's a huge exception, which I just uploaded a video about. It is
link in bio.
Exactly. It is very much a straight to the point. You have to capture the audience's attention.
And I do think that, like, even like the Kelly Wasakas or like the Elliot Choys, like, they always start their videos with like something like, you have to know this, or you have to see this, or I just set my car on fire. Like a really strong hook, right?
Why you should care. What is the value creation that you'll receive.
And then, like, even Emma Chamberlain, like, her thumbnails are like masterpieces.
Oh yeah. It's so simple. It'd be like one-word titles as well.
Like one-word titles, no full stops, no capitals. Like it could be Paris or I'm in Paris or
like fashion dad or something.
Yeah, like fashion dad or I moved out of LA or I love Paris or baguette. Or...
and they get millions of views.
And but also the thumbnail is like it's got her face in there, but it just drags you in.
And it's so counterintuitive because usually nowadays people go for the big effects. Maybe it's edited in Photoshop and lots of things in there. Where hers is the exact opposite. The blissful nature captures you.
As Colin Samir so gracefully and beautifully have said. I'm definitely not sucking up to Colin Samir. I don't love them. Anyway, they said like it's like the antithesis to MrBeast, Emma Chamberlain. Like she is such a relationship based creator. Like a whole generation across the world feels like she's their older sister, and like having that relationship online, like mentally and physically, is insane.
And it builds that parasocial connection. So as we were talking before about having 1,000 true fans, it's much easier to have those 1,000 true fans through the medium that is today. Because people feel like they're friends with you even though they've never actually met with you.
And
which can be weird for some creators, because fans will come up to them and they feel like they know them, but really like, who are you? But in a sense, it can build that really strong relationship.
But that's anything online. Like you have, like I saw one of my favorite comedians, Frenchie, and I've been listening to his podcast for literally a year. And like watched all his videos and stuff, and like I feel like I know him as a human.
Even though you've never even met him.
And then when I met him, it was so funny because I'm like, oh, this is how you are online. That's pretty cool. Like you're the same. Like you're the same crackhead. Like, know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty
like,
much.
Frenchie, like out there, you're amazing. You're funny, but you are a crackhead. But go on. But like, see, like it was with Emma Chamberlain. Like she always starts with like, "Good morning," and like I'm really like she feels like she's speaking like her soul to you.
It's a lot more authentic. Because with a lot of TV nowadays, it's all overproduced. It's the reality TV shows. It's Love Island. It's Bachelor. Yeah. Like, I could care less about the people on there. Maybe if they had some people that I knew about, sure. But that's why YouTube does so well, is because you already have a relationship with these people. MrBeast has a game show where he brings on a bunch of creators. I'm already committed to that because there's a bunch of people I've been following along with for years and already care about it. It's if a friend is doing that game show, so I'm going to watch it. Yeah. Versus some, pointless or other game show that's on TV.
That's the thing about also creators growing together and the economy growing, because once there's more creators growing, then the collaboration potential is insane. Like Peter McKinnon can go to Matty Apoya, and then they had like this duo, like the Dope Squad with like Lizzie Pierce and Chris Howe, and like because content is so much better when there's more faces, familiar faces.
Oh yeah.
Then you can go and partner with like Red Bull and big companies and really small creators, and like.
And it legitimizes the space.
It makes it feel so much more authentic, and like even though it's over the internet, there's people there, there's relationships. You feel like you're with them,
and you're in their household. That's the thing. You're not just on some box. You're with them wherever they go, when they wake up in the morning, when they're on the bathroom, when they're eating breakfast.
You're literally right there. Like they're holding a camera. You're right there. So it's like it's a really insane like sort of mental like sort of relationship, and like really psychological relationship people have with creators, because it's never been seen before.
So that can wield some good things, as we were saying. You're able to monetize that, do what you love, and have a positive impact on people's lives genuinely. But then there's also the dark side of that, and that came with the D'Amelio show highlighted a lot of that. I think that was really interesting there, because for them, obviously they grew to this stardom really quickly, but it meant all of a sudden they're famous, but they don't know what for yet.
And they didn't really ask for it either. They were just posting dance videos online, like they were a really average American family.
Yeah, pretty much. And people will complain, well, why don't you just, go away from it all? It's like, well, if this is maybe your opportunity to do exactly what you want, maybe you want to be a dancer, a singer, or an actor, well, of course you're going to take advantage of it, regardless of maybe some of those downsides. But it's up to them now to figure out, okay, I'm famous, but now I have to prove I can sing, I have to prove I can act, I can prove I dance, rather than just...
And most of them, like, just want to, like, make music. They don't want it to be good, right? Like, Dixie just wants a creative outlet.
And experiment without the pressure of people hating on it.
She doesn't want... like some sort of medium for people to hate on her, or for people like, if you don't like her music, if you don't like their videos, like generally, like if you don't like a creator's content or videos, just don't watch it. Like hold on to TikTok, hit not interested, and I won't show the videos again.
You don't have to be just chucking hate and just negative stuff, because as we were saying before, it's a real person. It's not some figure who's
and it hurts.
They're young. They're 17.
And it hurts because like we all feel it, where like when you get these comments, like sure, it's keyboard warriors, but at the end of the day, like, if you're not in a good place mentally, and it's hard to be in a good place mentally as a creator, especially if you be like the D'Amelios, like, as they saw, like, the D'Amelios were getting thousands and thousands of likes and comments that were really positive, like, oh my god, you've changed my life, or you've turned me around, or I go on TikTok to get a relief from, like, my stress, whatever.
And so what a pressure both ways, not just this negative, but also the positive.
Then, like, and then the thing is, but in the Netflix series, whatever it was, they only read the negative ones. The negative ones only stand out. The positive ones are just all normal now.
Because they outweigh a lot more than the positive do. Because like, I'm used to that.
And they're just crying over these negative comments. And it's like, they're 17-year-old girls who make dance videos. And they've made themselves, like, basically an empire from them dancing online. Like, if that is not the coolest thing ever, I don't know what is.
And the fact that they have more power than most TV stations.
And, like, they're, like, the whole thing of, like, the most influential people of 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, that she was nominated for.
Yeah, Dixie was. And it's like...
Charlie.
Charlie. And then she was like, I don't feel like I deserve this. And it's like, you may not feel like that because you're just posting dance videos and it's just numbers you see.
And that's in response to the hate that she knows she'll receive preemptively.
And, like, but the thing is, like, yes, she deserves that. Like, I know she was being compared to doctors, but it's different. Like, doctors save the world in a different way. If she helps motivate the lives of millions of Americans, and if she helps inspire and uplift and give a little bit of respite, then that's definitely super influential.
Yeah, that's just as valuable in terms of the mental health side of it.
Exactly. Like, even though a doctor's saving people physically who are sick, like, she can't see the mental health impact, the positive impact that she's had on thousands of Americans.
Yeah, and that's something that doesn't come across for a lot of people, is you just see the comments, but it's rare that you actually see more than that. And what I like already is that I receive messages like every couple of weeks or so from people. Either they've seen one of my videos and asking for advice on things, or it's people from my old high school commenting. Like,
it's the most humbling thing.
It brings value. And that's all that matters. As long as someone gets value from it. I may not see it because there's no comments, there's like 15 views. But the fact that someone will message me, take their time out of their day to do that.
It's the most powerful thing. Like, I asked them my, like, series on, like, high school. I had so many people asking me, like, how do I get a hiatus? Or I'm struggling in this HSC right now. Do you have any tips or anything? I'll reply to them. I'll give them actually a tangible advice. Be like, it's okay, do this and this. And then, like, the other day, this was the most incredible experience I've ever had. I was at my local coffee shop, UTS Rose Club, on the Bay Run. If you know it, you know it. I'm sitting there with my parents. We're just having a burger and like a orange spritz, whatever you call it. And then some really young waiter comes over with, like...
Oh, it's the waiter?
Waiter, long hair. He comes over and he's like, hey, are you from Sydney Creators? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I'm Josh. It's like, oh, really? I followed the pages, man. I love him.
That's like, mental. Because it's only, got like 150
like
followers?
200 followers. And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, that's crazy. He's like, it's a really good idea, man. Like, I'm keen to see it grow. And I'm like... What the fuck?
I understand that he might know about it, but recognizes you as well. That's what's crazy. I've been
the face of it, and it's like, I was just like, what the shit?
But it's because there's an obvious value creation there. You're not just someone putting up entertainment, comedy content. You are bringing genuine value where I can attach to this. I'm a creator too. I'm wanting to do what you want to do. I was
literally like grabbing like lunch at a waiter. I was just like, what? And my parents were like, who the fuck are you, Josh? Like,
you famous now?
Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway.
So I had a bit in uni, like, it was already kind of preemptive in that I was in her class, like, in term 1, and then she wasn't there for the first couple of weeks, I think, because she had to self-isolate. But then she was like, I think I saw you on TikTok. It was like the first sort of feeling of someone recognizing me, but she already knew my face from being in the same class. But, you start appearing on people's feeds randomly. It's
funny when your friends be like, you're on my For You page, and I'm like, oh my god, 400 times people have seen this, what the fuck?
It's mental when that happens, and because the algorithms that govern today, it can reach a much larger audience.
Like, TikTok is a game-changing platform.
The organic growth is beyond anything it is.
And if you know the formula, like, use trending hashtags, trending sounds, like, you can go viral. Anyone can go viral.
And having that obvious value creation, so as we're talking before with Bar and Dempsey, it's very much, okay, I lost year 12... advice and things for them. Okay, well, I found that, I will follow along. Because, I mean, I was in year 12, so I'm like, sweet, this is kind of what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have that and you're very clear...
And it's really targeted to a niche as well.
Exactly.
Like, TikTok is really good at casting a wide net, seeing who bites, and then only targeting that content to those people.
And that's what they're so good at nowadays, because obviously the companies have a vested interest in doing that. The longer people stay on the platform by showing them videos that they want to see. So yes, there is the bad side of that, obviously. But on the positive end of just entertaining informational content, that can be fantastic for both sides, because as an audience member, I see exactly what I want to see.
And the For You page is so targeted.
Oh, you get the audience that wants to see your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, one of my videos, I probably had like 350 followers at the time. It went up to 70,000 views, which my top one's 1,000. Even that was kind of a fluke. And yet it goes exactly to the right people, because I was asking a question to essentially targeted towards British people, and it went exactly to the British crowd. It was like 4,000 comments.
This is insane. Mind-blowing, yeah.
If you're still watching this video, it must mean that you're getting something out of it. So feel free to subscribe so YouTube knows exactly what you want to keep watching and that you don't ever miss an episode. Right, I'll get you back in the video in 3, 2, 1.
So we're back again with our break, resetting up the cameras. But one of the things with the new creator economy that has emerged is, back in the day, you generally had to do something quite extravagant, whether it be the big skits of Ryan Higa or the sort of soccer events of the Sidemen to stand out. But nowadays, you can do very niche things. You can talk about photography tutorials, you can do finance. I'm sure there's like artists out there that are doing painting tutorials.
On TikTok, yeah.
It doesn't need to be as extravagant as it did, because, as we were talking about before, the algorithm is so good at finding the audience. As long as you have a clear value prop and it finds that audience, it's perfect and across the world. They don't need to be in your city anymore where you can run courses. They could be in Mongolia. They could be in Azerbaijan. They could be
specific.
But well, only because I've never thought about Mongolia, right? There's ancient Mongolia, right, that we're taught in school. But then I met a guy from Mongolia a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh shit, I've never actually thought about Mongolia as a modern place, because it's never brought up in the news, school, etc. But besides the point, either way, regardless of where someone is, you can contact them, reach that audience, and they can engage with your content, and you can build relationships and communities that way. But in that regard of the communities, different sorts of channels build up. So there are two different routes people generally take. Either they take, I'm going to name it after myself, so as we have done our channels at Parker Forest and Joshua Cappello, or they name it after an idea, like Yes Theory, MrBeast. And there are different purposes and values for each one.
Yeah.
And sometimes people flip between the two as well. So as we were discussing even before this podcast, you have people like Mari Hapoya, who started with Travel Field as his name, and then realized, okay, I'll switch to my actual name, Mari Hapoya. But I think the reason he did that...
It's a very interesting, like, transition as well, if you think about it.
Because usually it goes maybe the other way around. But I think the reason that he did that was because it's himself. So if it's just himself running a channel and he names it after, let's say, Travel Fields, it very much limits him to that travel photography, videography genre. Where if it's just himself working, may as well be his own brand, build the brand around himself. So if he decides, hypothetically, he wants to do skateboarding tutorials in the future, he probably could shift into something similar. Yeah, exactly. And you don't mind it because you're there for Maddie, you're not there for Travel Fields. Where you have people like Yes Theory, where it's very much around the idea. And I think the benefit of that is, it means you're not stuck to it. If you decide you want to go off and do something like Matt DeHer has done with Yes Theory and go write a book, you can have other people hosting. You have Matt's brother stepping in. You have other people stepping in who can then carry along the episodes, but may not have been there from the start.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because naming yourself something not your personal brand means you're pigeonholed to one niche. And as Sorella Moore once said, or has said and still says, you need 3 niches or 3 unique selling points as a creator, right? So, like, if you don't have the 3, because 3 means that you attract 3 sort of similar but different audiences, and it means different people can come to your channel. You're the sort of main character, but you have depth and you have story and you have personality because you have 3 different outlets to convey your message.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think sometimes if you maybe don't have those 3, but you have a broad enough thing as Yes Theory has with Seek Discomfort and saying yes to things which take you outside your comfort zone and maybe that you wouldn't have done before, meeting new people, building connections.
Yeah.
It is essentially those 3 things, but all tied up under one name.
Yeah.
So they have the ability to expand.
And like, in the end, like, Yes Theory is a good example because their content is around like one central theme. Like, there's no 3 like specific niches. Like, it's one central theme of saying yes, right? That's the whole concept, right? So you don't have, like, obviously, there's like 2 ways to go. You can do like the one central theme, the personal brand, or you can do the 3 unique selling points. But Yes 3 also works so well is because, sure, it's one central theme, but it's like 20 people. And they're constantly changing. They're always a few familiar faces, but most of the time, there's always new faces or new events to bring in strangers or fans or followers or cult followers.
It's about the community that comes with it, not just them.
Exactly. It's bigger than themselves. Like, I think yesterday you've said this, like, the reason they keep the channel running is because they give value to more than just themselves.
And people will build communities and gatherings and they'll meet up outside of the channel. Just because of the idea that has been pushed that connects so many people.
That's the same thing with, like, running a Discord or a Patreon. It's like, sure, you're all, like, supporting, let's say, a fellow comedian on TikTok, right? But you're also meeting people who also like him, and you'll probably have similar interests, and they do pub meetups and stuff, and you'll meet really cool people who could become really cool friends.
Yeah, exactly. And that community is so important because that can help push it beyond what anything could have done before.
Exactly.
Help emphasize those 1,000 true fans, help...
And the more, like, community you grow, like, the bigger your cult following becomes and the stronger they become, because you introduce this guy to who now his best friend. And then that relationship is completely different, and it's so special.
And it can bring a lot more value than otherwise. So I'm sure if Tom Hanks maybe released a product, yes, it would probably get quite a few sales, but would it really get a proportional amount of sales as if someone you already have built a community around a sort of central idea like Yes Theory, if they were to sell a product?
Exactly. It's different. And, like, obviously creators can monetize different ways, but monetizing a community and a cult following is so much easier.
And it's doing it in a way that isn't exploitative as well.
Yeah, well...
And that's tough, but people are starting to figure it out.
It's like the jab, right hook, right? Where Yes Theory have given so much entertainment, like, that people just want to support them any way possible. Whether it be Patreon or a product or merch. And, like, even for, like, Colin Samir. Shout out Colin Samir. When you guys launched your merch drop, like, immediately, it wasn't even, like, my brain didn't even realize I was doing it. I just immediately went onto the website, pressed publish, and bought a shirt. Like, it didn't even, like, cross my mind. Like, I paid an exuberant amount of shipping because I'm from Australia.
Yeah, it is. Well, eventually, Yes Theory, so
exactly.
It works.
Like, it works. Like, we both buy it. Like, and then I bought it because I was like, I have learned so much from Colin Samir. Like, so much. All for free. And it's like, if this is what I can do to support them, then fuck, I'm going to support them.
And you feel like you want to rep the sort of brands
and you want to, like, exactly,
and be a part of that community.
You're proud to be part of the community. Like, I'm proud to record content on that show because it feels like I'm part of this global creative movement.
And it's like the reason why people join societies, they join frats in the US or political parties. It's because they want to feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
And that allows you to do it. It's not like you're exploiting them by saying, buy this product. By having the clothing, it feels like you are part of that community. By maybe if you just sell a product, it's a product that you'd have anyway. Let's say it's coffee or a camera bag. It's something you would have anyway, but you may as well have something that would connect you to that feeling of being a part of that community, like, by connecting to that person.
It doesn't have to be merch. Like, Peter McKinnon, one of the most successful creators I'd said in the last 2 to 3 years, easily on YouTube. He released a variable ND filter, which is a very specific photography related item.
And
like,
even the bag, it raised $2 million. Like, that is mental that it raised $2 million for a camera bag.
Like no brand or business of a Kickstarter could get anywhere near that. And that's the power of a creator, because they have this following that they can send it out to all these people and they'll be like, oh man, this camera bag's good, I'll make a video on it. Then suddenly there's 100 videos on YouTube. Everyone's talking about it. It's all the social media, got ads running.
No traditional advertising. You don't necessarily need traditional advertising. You can, but you don't have to.
Like, because you have that really dedicated organic follower base who will buy your shit no matter what you sell, as long as it adds value.
And if you extend that, not just on personal growth, but even with MrBeast and Mark Rober with Team Trees, and they just tweeted a couple of days ago that they're going to be releasing, it's not named yet, but he has mentioned on the podcast, it's probably going to be something like Team C's. And the fact that they raised $20 million for charity, and it was basically a fight, because they would have a leaderboard on their website. It was like, Elon Musk raised $1 million, and someone else, I think it was Shopify, did $1,001 just to try and reach the top. And it became this big thing, because, as you said, people start creating videos on it because they want to be a part of it, because they want to help.
And it's a really positive movement. Like, you're supporting a creator who's literally given, like, both of us a degree in filmmaking, photography. Like, I could easily say Peter McKinnon's videos have given me a full 4-year university degree in editing, color grading, photography, composition, and
the business side
as well. Like, and plus entertaining, like, value driven. Like, this man, I don't even know who you are, Peter McKinnon, right? I have no clue who the hell you are, but I feel like you're like my art teacher. Yeah. Like, you're my cinematography
like a mentor
teacher.
In a way that we've never met.
Exactly, yeah. And it's one of the things where it's like, I'm going to buy your variable ND filter. It could be crap. I know it's not.
Buy it anyway.
It's made by Apollo Pro, which is an incredible company. But Like, if the product adds value, then I'm going to purchase it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you may as well.
Yeah.
And because that connection that builds, that is so strong. And it just doesn't happen in other media forms. And that's why it's such a new space.
It's because, like, building a creator following, no one understands it. No business understands it. They use influencers, which is a one-off transaction. It's, you promote my jewelry or you promote my beauty product, you get 10 sales, thank you very much, here's your commission, here's your fee, have a nice day.
Yeah, and creators are starting realizing there's much better ways that they can integrate those brands, and the brands are smart enough, like SeatGeek.
Yeah.
What were you going to mention?
Go on.
Like, originally, they wanted to go that standard method, as you were saying, where it's like, just shout us out, here's the exact script you need to read. And David Dobrik is like, no, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
And he very much intentionally associates it with a positive thing. When he gets the brand from SeatGeek, it's not just taking money from you and shouting an ad down the lens. Rather, it is saying that something good is about to happen because I'm using this money to buy someone a car, buy someone a house.
Integrating it into the video, into the community, or even though you're getting paid, you're giving back. Like Potato Gym, every sponsored video, he used to give away a free product or some free sort of value. But then he started this, I don't know if you know about it, the like short film sort of foundation, where basically if there's a sponsor, he put all the money towards like funding a short film, his follower base. So they can pitch an idea, he'll give them a deposit, then you get the rest of the money if they finish the film. So even though he's getting paid through sponsors, he's giving a lot of it back to people who supported him.
And it's a value.
Watch his videos.
It's good for everyone because from the brand perspective, all of a sudden when people hear that brand, they have a positive connotation for it.
Because it's not some heartless soul corporation sucking money. Yeah. It's actually like, oh my god, like
I'm getting something from this brand. It's somehow giving me something.
Like DJI is indirectly helping me support my indie filmmaking career. And that's much more powerful than giving me like a fucking Mavic 2. No offense, DJI. Anyway, I was going to say also, like, creators are becoming very, very good at integrating ads into their videos. Like Mango Street.
Yeah,
phenomenal. Like, their Squarespace ads. Like, they had a whole marriage ad. Marrying Squarespace. That was perfect. And, like, even, like, every Manscaped ad. Like, in podcast.
Even Fairbairn Films did one yesterday as well.
And it's like, I don't know.
Like, the integration is important because usually, back in the day when people would have their sponsorships, you just skip past it. Like, when you watch Philip DeFranco, it's like, I know he's just saying he's trying to pay his bill, whatever, but I just skip past them because I don't really care.
Like the Joe Rogan podcast, I used to listen to it. I used to skip for 5 minutes after all the ad reads. And it's like, when it's integrated in, you actually feel like it's fun. Like, them, like, trim your bush, like, get a package for your package. Like, all these, like, really fun sayings make the product fun, but it makes you actually listen to the ad.
And there's a couple different ways. So as you said, there's the skit ways where you can make it entertaining. MrBeast will do it where he'll have a challenge running while he does the ad read. So you're not going to skip the ad read because then you miss Chandler giving his sister $10,000.
And then, creators will also, like, say it's like Gerald Undone reviewing a camera. He'll, like, test audio during the ad read, or test, like, the camera quality during the ad read. So you're forced to listen to the ad read while you, like, watch how good this camera audio is.
Or even you have it sort of do perfect style when they get sponsorships from Callaway. They wouldn't do an ad read. They would just say, you know, welcome, this is sponsored by Callaway. And they would just use Callaway gear. Yeah. And at the end, they'd say, you know, click on Callaway's website to see more videos from us. So it means you're going to probably go there to see more stuff from them. Yeah. But they're not shouting something down the lens. Rather, it builds a positive association. It's more PR than it is advertising. Yeah. And that really changes how
changes
things
the landscape, And at the end of the day, it's just better for both parties because the viewer sees something entertaining and engaging. The creator gets paid, more importantly, and the brand gets higher conversions. Like, it's a win-win-win.
It's like, why, when brands try and go against that nowadays, you ask why. And yes, it's a bit harder to do, but the payoff is much better.
It's obviously much riskier.
Oh, yeah.
But the reward is much higher.
And it feels more natural because it's not like I'm a sellout anymore. It is very much, we understand I need to make money doing what I'm doing, otherwise I can't produce the videos that I produce.
And the reviews are free. Like, you're not paying for them. Like, the least thing you can do is watch a 30-second ad in the middle of a video that's entertaining.
And considering some of it can be like 80% of the ad revenue is from brand deals.
Exactly, because YouTube ad revenue is horseshit.
Unless you do finance. Then I've seen ones that have gone up to 58 RPM.
It's fucked.
Which is mental. Usually it might be about 2 to 4 if you're lucky. Like, that's kind of standard-ish. And if finance is just... So those people. But otherwise, if you're not... Yeah, you really need to find other ways to bring in revenue.
And that's the thing with creators, like, their business, like, they have multiple income sources. Like, they have the ad revenue, right? Like, Matty Apoy's ad revenue pays for his brother Teppo to edit his videos. That's it, right? Which is cool. The ad revenue is very high, but it pays for that. Then his brand deals pay for his manager, and then his partnerships pay for this, and his social media pays for this, and his freelance work pays for this, the affiliate, and you have the courses and the LUTs and the presets, and you have this massive pool that all sap in revenue passively.
And it's not just pocketed as well. It goes into a much bigger thing. As you said, he pays his brother to edit or managers.
It's all reinvested. It's reinvested into his business, into his videos, into his camera gear, into his relationships, into flying out, doing cool shit. Like,
so people may look at it like, you brought in $1 million. Like, why should I be giving you more? Stop doing these ad reads. But it goes into other people's pockets that they have to employ.
And as a creator, it's like, the more money they get, it just means they can do more stuff.
Exactly.
Like it just means that any idea is limitless, and any idea they can travel around the world like Yes Theory, or they can go to Iceland and film a music video, and it's like it allows so many more creative possibilities.
Even with MrBeast going on that line, he tweeted a couple of days ago that he's doing a 48-hour merch drop, and that's to fund his upcoming video, which is basically be a YouTuber Squid Game.
Squid Game, which is insane.
Because he's expecting that it would cost him $2 million. So because he very much obviously justifies why he needs that money.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, creators and like Gen Z in general have a very good perspective on money, which is incredible, because boomers are like, don't spend money, stop buying avocados
save for a house.
Yeah, stop buying avocados and toast. Like, stop renting. That's why you can't buy a house, you dumb Gen Z. It's like, you know, I bought my investment property back in like 40 years ago and blah, blah, blah. Now it's worth $40 million. And I bought fucking like the S&P 500 when I was 4 years old.
Oh, there's so much red at the moment. Oh no.
And there's like so much shit. Then we have all these like young people being like, I don't give a fuck about money. Like, sure, I would have enough money to go have a few nights, buy something to piss, right? Or have a beer, or buy myself a car or a camera, or pay rent. But like at the end of the day, we are much more experience-based humans. Like, we prefer to go skydiving with 4 mates or on a road trip rather than buy a nice watch, right? And that's a difference, because we don't think of money as this magical thing. We think of it as just a means to have experiences.
And it's a different view on it. And I think as well, the change in systems in terms of increased rent prices, increased college and university fees, like, means that the priorities are different. It doesn't make sense to go into a job that doesn't pay you.
Only the 1%, right, can't afford to buy a house now. And that's sad. And it's like, but the thing is, renting, there's so many benefits. Like, you have utilities paid for, it's easy to maintain.
You can move at any moment.
Yeah, you can go overseas at a heartbeat, you can end your lease and travel the world.
Put it this way, I did the math. It's cheaper to Airbnb all year round across Europe than it is to live in Sydney for one person.
And that was because we were going to go on a road trip, or a Euro trip with Sydney Creatives.
Yeah.
How fucked is that?
Like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to do a bit of a road trip during these school holidays, uni holidays. But then after I graduate, hopefully this can pick up enough where I can sustain that. But it's also a business expense. So not only is it cheaper to live Airbnb, but I'm an employee creating content, videos, and photos for my business, which brings in revenue. So it's all business expense. So I get 30% more travel than I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, well, why wouldn't I do that? Because I want to be traveling anyway. I want to be interviewing interesting people, seeing cool sites, and talking about interesting things.
It's just funding your lifestyle, which is incredible.
It's figuring out, what do you want?
Sorry, the GoPro died.
Oh no! Ah, the wide shot. No,
we lost the wide. Wide down. Wide down. Wide down. Wide down.
Oh look, some technical difficulties. Before I let you get back to the third part of this video, this isn't the only technical difficulties that I am too tall for this shot. But, you know what doesn't have technical difficulties? The YouTube comments section. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the creator economy. Where do you think it's heading? Do you watch people? Who are your favorite people to watch? I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have. Do you think it's going in the right direction? Are there certain things they need to change? Please let me know, and I'll respond to all your comments down there in the comment section. I shall let you get back to the original video in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so the sort of traveling aspect, it means that you don't just have to be a photographer and filmmaker to do that. You can do it if you're a musician.
Well, especially... you just have your iPhone and you're fine.
Oh, exactly. And even if you ignore the whole things of it's commercial filming, so technically it's illegal to film a TikTok nowadays, even if you're a musician, you can make a living off it. And it may not be the music you make a living off particularly, but it is the personal brand that you build around it and can funnel into your music.
Yeah, one of my like colleagues and sort of like mentors and like friends, Pace Randolph, he's a massive musician, over 130K on TikTok, right? And he built his whole brand off TikTok, singing in his bedroom to a camera.
You don't need the expensive studios. It's your car or your bedroom.
And he hit the marketing aspect as well. Because, okay, this is like, if you're a creator, like, I'm flagging this listen right now. Like, because this is solid gold. TikToks that go viral create an experience from a phone. So what Pace did, or Dale, his name's Dale. He did this thing where he a key change. So he was like, he did like "Good for You," like "The Greatest Showman" went viral. He did "Stay," where he'd sing the song, he'd at the chorus, he'd do a key change, go a higher, lower, major, minor, whatever it was, right? Anyway, so the key change videos performed so well because he'd start singing over his phone, and then I'll show footage now, and then as the key change, he'd lift them up, so you'd actually feel like you're in the crowd of a mosh. That was the vibe you get, which is it's incredible. Because it's coming from a phone, but because he does that movement, it really elevates the whole experience.
And because you feel like you're there, you feel like you're a part of it. It's a lot more personal. It's not overproduced.
Well, it's iPhone footage. It's relatable. That's why iPhone footage performs much better on TikTok, because it's relatable. It's really, it looks good, but anyone can do it, and that's why people resonate and click on it. It doesn't look like an ad.
It's much more a friend talking to you, as if they had sent you a Snapchat or something.
Yeah.
And you have people like Tiags or other creators where they have their music viewed in nearly 10 million videos. It's not 10 million streams, that's 10 million videos which have included their music.
The viral potential of having a song go viral on TikTok is incredible. Like, even like the Wombats, a really indie Australian band, they had that one line that went viral on TikTok, and then now their brand is known across the world. Some indie band from like Australia is now worldwide because of TikTok.
And Billboard even had to change the definitions on how they classified top charts because of it. Because it's just non-comparable. It's like when Spotify came along, iTunes and record sales, you couldn't categorize successful artists by how many records they sold. It didn't make sense. Yeah, now with TikTok, you can't categorize by how many Spotify streams.
Because instead of having, like, let's say 1 million streams to go, now it's 1 billion. Like, it just increases the playing field so much because, let's say I make a trendy song, then you make a video to that song, then your friend does, then your followers does, then their followers does.
Especially if it's a big creator, then everyone wants to associate with that sound. It becomes a trend.
This is how like Addison Rae, Charli D'Amelio, this is how they all work. It's because they hop on a song before when it's small, they blow it the fuck up, and then all their followers create dances, songs, videos, skits, whatever it is, to that song.
You're trying to replicate it.
Yeah, and then it goes viral, and they add their own twist, obviously, but that's why TikTok is so powerful for the music industry, because it basically means your music can get to every single person who you'd ever want it to be listened to in an instant.
And it can be constantly shared by people who aren't even you, just because they want to be like you.
It's the viral coefficient, right? Like, as soon as you get the viral coefficient going, it just keeps feeding and feeding and feeding, and then eventually your video has 10 million views, and you're like, what the fuck?
How did I get here?
I'm from Sydney, I'm fucking 19, and now I get 10 million views. Like, what's going on?
And because of the phone aspect, if you're trying to be like Dwayne Johnson, what you need to get a gym membership, you need to pump the weights day after day after day. It's not easy to replicate. But if you want to, as you said, which continues on the music, you want to dance like Addison Rae or Charli D'Amelio, all you need is a phone set up, learn a couple dance moves, and you've got it. And you're perpetuating that music that then the artists can bring revenue from down the line. It may not be direct, but it's the brand building that comes from that.
Once you have an audience, it's so easy to monetize it because they all love you.
Yeah, and even Tiags, I loved his page for a while because he was doing, it was obviously when things were locked down, but during doing Omegle videos where he says, I just want to rap one of my songs and can you tell me if it's good or not? And he'd do one of his songs which went mega viral. I'm talking like 2.2 million videos have used it.
I've seen it's like when it's funny when like you have like a musician like have a song go viral on TikTok and they get their friends in the car and they play the song.
Yeah.
And then their friends like, oh, that's the song. Like, yeah, the song's really cool. I love it. And like, oh, I sing it. Yeah. They're like, huh? What the fuck? And then the dude starts singing and just like, holy fucking shit! What the hell? It's you, man.
Yeah, and it just shows that you have the ability to do that.
It's
and
insane.
You said become the most famous person because everyone knows what you do, but they don't know who you are.
They don't know
your
your face, but they know your music.
Is the best thing that could happen because you don't necessarily have the downfalls of everyone harassing you and annoying you, but your work can be appreciated.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, look, you made it this far. You get a free cookie. Not from me, just from internet sites tracking your every move. Side note to that, if you made it this far, feel free to comment down with anything that was discussed later in the episode, so that anyone else here up until this point can have a good discussion and we can make a little community out of this. Also, if you want to keep seeing more of these episodes, feel free to subscribe so at least YouTube knows exactly what to show you. And I shall see you guys in the next one.